Hi everybody, how is everyone doing? Hope everyone is doing well. I'm here to do my Matchweek 33 predictions for the 2019-2020 Premier League season. Welcome back to the channel. Now, obviously I am recording this before the Sheffield United Tottenham game and the Manchester City Liverpool game as well. But what I will do is I will leave those results at the end of this video. So obviously I will do that as well. And obviously I'll leave a shout out at the end of the video as well. Yeah, should be very, very good. So let's have a quick look at how I've done so far. So Aston Villa Wolves, I went for a 1-0 win to Wolves. It was 1-0 win to Wolves, so a very good start there. Watford Southampton, I went for a 2-0 win to Southampton. It finished 3-1, so in the ballpark there. Crystal Palace Burnley, I went for a 2-0 win to Crystal Palace. And I finished 1-0 Burnley, so that was the first one wrong. Brighton Man United, I did say in the last video that the Amex curse would come to an end for Manchester United. And I said the 3-1 win for Manchester United and it finished 3-0. Bournemouth Newcastle went for a 1-1 draw, finished 4-1 to Newcastle. Wow, what a result that was. For the Geordies, Arsenal Norwich City, I went for a 3-0 win to Arsenal, finished 4-0. Everton Leicester went for a 2-1 win to Everton that finished 2-1 to Everton, so another perfect score. And West Ham Chelsea, this was probably the surprise of the night. West Ham beating Chelsea by 3-2. I said a 2-0 win to Chelsea. So that is obviously that. So far I've got 9 points so far. So that's very, very good. Obviously there was one commenter, Shane O'Donnell, and I believe he's doing really, really well. So obviously I will leave his score at the end of this video. So the match week starts with a 12:30 game between Norwich City and Brighton. Leicester City against Crystal Palace is at 3 o'clock, and then we've got Manchester United against Bournemouth. That is also a 3 o'clock kickoff. Then 5:30 we've got Wolves against Arsenal. Chelsea against Watford, which is an 8 o'clock kickoff. And then we have Burnley against Sheffield United, Newcastle United against West Ham, Liverpool against Aston Villa, Southampton against Manchester City, and then Tottenham against Everton. So some very, very good games coming up in this game week. So the first game to preview and predict is Norwich City against Brighton. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 2 wins to Norwich, 2 wins to Brighton, and 1 draw. And in fact, that draw was way, way back in the Championship in 2015. So it's been a wee while since these two have last played each other. Both of these sides coming off the back of heavy defeats. Obviously, Brighton losing 3-0 to Manchester United at the Amex. Norwich City going to Arsenal and getting beat 4-0 by Arsenal. It has to be said, Norwich, I think they're good as gone. I hate to say it, but you can't keep conceding goals and expect to not get away with it. And unfortunately, at this moment in time, it's not looking good for Norwich City. But I tell you something, like they showed against Manchester United in the FA Cup that they can play. It was only until the stupid red card given to Tim Klose, which was a red card. It's always a red card. They were very, very good, and unfortunately it was one of those games where you'd have to say that okay, on a different day they might have got taken that game to penalties, but yeah, they've not scored in the Premier League since their return to the restart, and it's not looking very good for Norwich City. Brighton, well, obviously their good run had to come to an end eventually, but you have to say you don't face Manchester United every day, don't you? And obviously Brighton are going away from home. Not got the best away record, but they are going to the bottom of the league club Norwich. And I think one more win will be enough for Brighton to be a Premier League club next season. Do I think they will get it? Yes, I do think they will get it. I think they will get the win. I think they will get the 3 points needed to stay in the Premier League. But a very narrow win. Norwich City 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. That's my prediction for that one. Leicester City against Crystal Palace. Both of these sides coming off the back of defeats as well. Very narrow defeats as well. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Leicester City and 4 wins to Crystal Palace. Palace have got a very good record against Leicester, and especially at the King Power. So the last score between the sides was a 4-1 win to Palace earlier, obviously last season it would have been. Leicester, what has happened to Leicester? Just since the restart, they've just not been very, very good. Unfortunately, as well, Jamie Vardy is not firing all cylinders either. Obviously, Iheanacho got the goal yesterday obviously got the goal for Leicester at Everton. But obviously Pickford was really, really poor in that goal as well. But do you know what? Leicester are really, really struggling. Against Chelsea, it was two really, really two different halves. I mean, Leicester came out all guns blazing with the game against Chelsea in the first half, but then in the second half, Chelsea just got up a gear and managed to get the win. But I do worry for Leicester City, and this is a must-win game for them. There's no doubt about it, because obviously Manchester United are on their heels. Chelsea, even though they got beat by West Ham, they're on their heels as well for third place. And Wolves, of course, are on their heels as well. And obviously, like we said, so it's going to be very, very... The top four race is getting very, very interesting. And unfortunately, Leicester City are just not in very, very good form. However, Palace, well, it has to be said. I mean, okay, they lost 4-0 to Liverpool. Obviously, they lost there. But against Burnley, I mean, Burnley, a very good win. There's no doubt about it. Very, very good win. But it's a poor result for Palace. Really, really poor result. I think they're, like I've said, I think they are better away from home than they are at home. So that's one thing I can say for that sure. But obviously Palace have got a very good record against Leicester, and unfortunately with the way that Leicester are playing, I can only really see a Palace winning here. Leicester City 1, Crystal Palace 2. Now, this game is in doubt because of obviously the lockdown the local lockdown in Leicester. So it'd be interesting to see if this game goes ahead at the King Power or maybe a neutral ground. So obviously we will need to wait and see, but it could be a game that could be moved to a neutral ground. We will see though. But yeah, should be a good one, that one. Leicester City 1, Crystal Palace 2. Manchester United against Bournemouth now, ladies and gents, and the last 5 between the sides have resulted in 4 wins to Manchester United and 1 win to Bournemouth. The last result was a 4-1 win to Manchester United. Well, I have to say, Manchester United since the restart have been absolutely magnificent. Barring the Spurs result aside, they've blown teams away. I mean, Sheffield United beat 3-0. Brighton the other night 3-0. Some of the passing movement from Matic to Greenwood to Fernandes, just some of the link-up play was absolutely fantastic. And this must be a very exciting time for Manchester United fans. It has to be said, because look at the games that they've won. And yeah, okay, the Norwich game that was one game where they definitely struggled against, but you have to say the way they played against Brighton was absolutely fantastic. And they'll be going in with confidence, because obviously they know that a Leicester City slip-up will invite Manchester United to be in the top 4 before Wolves play Arsenal and Chelsea play Watford as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Bournemouth, I hate to say it, but looking at Bournemouth's running, it's really tricky. It's really tricky to see where they're going to get points from. 4-1 defeat to Newcastle. I mean, that was an absolute shocker, it has to be said. I don't think anyone expected Newcastle to get 4 goals especially, but credit to them. Newcastle were very, very good, and unfortunately it's looking like the drop could be there for Bournemouth, but they are still only 1 point above... They are only 1 point off the. They are in the relegation zone, but they're only 1 point away from safety. So that's how tight it is, especially with West Ham winning last night. So obviously Watford are on 28 points, Bournemouth and Aston Villa are on 27 as well. But I do believe Bournemouth have dropped down a place because of obviously goal difference, etc. And then obviously West Ham will have moved on to 31 points. So it's getting really, really very, very tricky. But The last team you want to be playing at this moment in time is Manchester United, and unfortunately, I think this could be a heavy beating in this game. I just think Manchester United are licking their lips, as they say, in Bournemouth's really shoddy defence at this moment in time. So I think it's going to be a big scoreline. I'm going to go for Manchester United 5, Bournemouth 0. I just got a feeling that Bournemouth will be on the back of a heavy defeat here. But we'll see. We will see what happens. But I'm going for Manchester United 5, Bournemouth 0. Wolves against Arsenal now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Wolves, 3 draws, and 1 win to Arsenal. So very even stuff. The last result was a 3-1 win to Wolves. Wolves, have to be said, they just do not go away from that top 4 race. Another fantastic 1-0 win over Aston Villa. Very good performance, and very good from Deng Donker to get the goal as well. They've just got something about them, Wolves. They're a really exciting team to watch. Yes, obviously you've got the pace of Adama Traore. You've got obviously the goal scoring prowess of Raul Jimenez, Diego Jota as well. He's very good as well. And at the back, you've got Connor Cody, you've got Willy Bolly, you've obviously got Rui Patricio, Johnny, Matt Doherty. It's a solid team, and it is going to be very interesting to see what will actually happen for Wolves. But if they can continue the run they're on, it's going to be very close, especially because Chelsea have Liverpool and Wolves on the final day of the season. So that is going to be very interesting for sure. But Wolves are in fantastic form, and obviously it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? So Arsenal have picked up a little bit, it has to be said. Obviously, they won 2-1 at Sheffield United in the FA Cup. They won 2-0 against Southampton, the last game there as well. And obviously beat Norwich 4-0 as well. So they are picking up points. They're picking up points where they left off, and it's very good to see. But I'm going to go for a Wolves win in this one, just because I think Wolves will want to continue their race for top 4, and could put pressure on Chelsea, because Chelsea could actually drop out of the top 4 and potentially go down to 6th place, which would be really interesting. So I'm actually going to say this for sure. I'm going for a 2-0 win to Wolves in this game. I think Wolves will be too strong for Arsenal. But yeah, that top 4 race is getting really interesting for sure. Chelsea against Watford now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 4 wins to Chelsea and 1 win to Watford. The last result was a 3-0 win to Chelsea. Chelsea, yeah, defensive frailties at the back, it has to be said, against West Ham. It wasn't very good at all. Rudiger not looking very good. Alonso not looking very good. And yeah, you could pick holes in that Chelsea defence, unfortunately. It's very difficult to say where Chelsea go on from here. And, Lampard, for much as plaudits he's had, I think he did get something wrong against West Ham, but credit to West Ham, they were absolutely fantastic. And winning 3-2 in the end as well. Willian has been absolutely magnificent recently. I mean, 2 good goals against West Ham yesterday as well. And you know what? He is playing for a move, there's no doubt about it. He won't be getting a new contract at Chelsea. But I'll tell you something, he's been very good recently. And if he can continue that, you'll get one more pay pack out of that for sure. Watford, oh dear. Yeah, Ben Foster had a bit of a nightmare, it has to be said. It wasn't very good at all. And defensively, again, they weren't great. And they are looking above their shoulders now, because obviously a point above the relegation zone. Obviously, Bournemouth and Aston Villa have 27 points. And they'll obviously look at the West Ham result last night as well, saying that, yeah, that wasn't a very good result either. So this is a really tricky game, but I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. I think Chelsea will be too strong for Watford. And I think Chelsea would jump back into the top 4. Yeah, we could actually see that changing from week to week. So it's going to be very interesting. But I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Chelsea. I think Chelsea will be too strong for the Hornets. And then we move into the Sunday games, and we have Burnley against Sheffield United now. The last five between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Burnley, one draw, and 1 win to Sheffield United. The last result was a 4-2 win to Burnley. Burnley, well, that is 1-0 wins back to back now against Watford and against Crystal Palace. Burnley doing a Burnley. They do love their 1-0 wins, don't they? Don't score many goals, but I'll tell you something that obviously they are missing Chris Wood, they are missing Ashley Barnes as well. But Ben Mee, he's got an eye for goal, hasn't he? A very good header from him. And you know what? It is very good from Burnley, and it's going to be very hard because obviously Turf Moor is a really tricky place to go to. And they're coming up against the Sheffield United side, who, it has to be said, their form has not been great since the restart. Especially on the road as well, because obviously they've had back-to-back 3-0 defeats to Newcastle and Manchester United, and obviously going out to the FA Cup to Arsenal. But I think now they can focus on the league. Obviously they are playing Sheffield. They are playing Tottenham before obviously this recording. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do in that game. But I just think Burnley are just on something else at the moment. I'm gonna back them to get another win here, and I'm gonna go for a Burnley result. I think we just have to call it a Burnley result. Burnley 1, Sheffield United 0. I'm gonna go for it in this game. Newcastle United against West Ham. Two sides definitely coming off the back of fantastic victories last night. The last five between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Newcastle and 2 wins to West Ham. The last result was a 3-0 win to West Ham. Newcastle United, I have to say, Alan Saint-Maximin was absolutely magnificent yesterday. Albion as well. Good to see Lozano on the score sheet as well. And obviously Sean Longstaff as well. But Newcastle were absolutely fantastic against Bournemouth. There's no doubt about it. And that is something they have been lacking, is goals. And I don't think anyone expected them to win 4-1 at Bournemouth. But a fantastic result it was, and you know what? It was a very good way to put it. And obviously going out of the FA Cup to Manchester City, I think everyone expected them to go out to Manchester City. But do you know what? Steve Bruce deserves a lot of credit because the way that he's done Newcastle, he's been absolutely fantastic. So going to be a very interesting game because obviously they are coming up against the West Ham side who did beat Chelsea by 3-2. I thought West Ham were dead and buried a few weeks ago, but not now. Not now. They are up to 16th. They're sitting pretty comfortably now, 31 points. So they've just got away from that relegation zone as well. But the one thing they just have to keep doing is get points, and they'll be absolutely safe. But I got a feeling that Newcastle will continue their good recent form. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle United in this game. Liverpool against Aston Villa now. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 4 wins to Liverpool and 1 win to Aston Villa. The last result was the 5th of September 2015 when Liverpool won 3-2 against Aston Villa. Well, Liverpool, let's put it this way, they obviously play Manchester City at the time of recording. But against Crystal Palace last week, it was absolutely magnificent. Fantastic victory, and obviously, like I said, Premier League champions. So it's very congratulations to Liverpool, obviously, for that. But yeah, they're coming up against an Aston Villa side who, let's be honest, just cannot keep a clean sheet to save themselves. I think we have to say that they definitely are missing Tom Heaton because Nyland had an absolute shocker of a week. Gave the ball straight to Jota, and obviously his distribution is not very good either. But the last place you want to go when you are conceding goals left, right, and centre is Anfield. Obviously they did win there. They did win there in the 14-15 season. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well they do in this one. But you've just got to fancy Liverpool, haven't you? You've got to fancy Liverpool. They'll be licking their lips at the sight of Villa's defence. So I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Liverpool in this game. I just think Liverpool will be too strong for Aston Villa. But it depends on how they do tonight against Manchester City. It depends how they do tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. Southampton against Manchester City. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 5 wins to Manchester City. The last result was a 3-1 win to Manchester City. Now, Southampton were absolutely magnificent against Watford. Danny Ings is closing in on Jamie Vardy now for that golden boot. It is getting really, really interesting now. But Danny Ings has been absolutely sensational. James Ward-Prowse was a fantastic free kick as well. And it has to be said that Southampton probably prefer playing away from home than they do at St Mary's, because at the time of recording they do have the worst home record in the Premier League at this moment in time. Only Norwich City have fewer wins than Southampton do. So that's one thing you can say. But yeah, Manchester City, obviously, they are playing, obviously, they're obviously playing Liverpool this evening, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. But I can go back to the Chelsea game, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. But the FA Cup game against Newcastle, they were very, very good. And obviously, Sterling and De Bruyne scoring as well, which is good to see as well. So I've just got a feeling that Southampton will be a bit, I don't know what the word, be a bit pessimistic that they play Manchester City, because I think Man City will probably win this one. I'm going to go for a very, very high scoring game for Man City. A 4-0 win to the Citizens. I just think they'll be too strong for Southampton, and I just don't think Southampton will be able to live with them. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Manchester City. And the final game to preview and predict is Tottenham Hotspur against Everton. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Spurs and 2 draws. The last result was a 2-2 draw between Tottenham and Everton. Obviously, the game overshadowed by a really horror injury to Andre Gomez. Thankfully, he is back now. He'll be able to play against Tottenham. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game for sure, this one. Because obviously, Tottenham, I think you have to say that Tottenham's form has not been very, very good. But they did beat West Ham, and a very, very good result it was as well. Obviously, they are playing Sheffield United as well, and yeah, be interesting to see how well they do for sure. So, I'm going to be very, very interested to see for sure. Everton, a very good win against Leicester, and that's one thing you can say for sure. They've been very, very good recently. Everton, since the restart, they've been very, very good. And Richarlison, very good to see him get on the score sheet as well. And obviously they got their first penalty as well, so it's the first penalty that Everton have got this season. Gylfi Sigurdsson scoring that. Usually these games are really, really good. They're very high scoring games as well. And I'm going to say it's going to be a bit of a high scorer one, this one. Tottenham 2, Everton 2. So I'm going to go for the same result as last season as well. So that is it. That is my Matchweek 33 predictions done and dusted. We'll just go through my predictions really, really quickly as well. Norwich City 0, Brighton 1. Leicester City 1, Crystal Palace 2. Manchester United 5, Bournemouth 0. Wolves 2, Arsenal 0. Chelsea 3, Watford 1. Burnley 1, Sheffield United 0. Newcastle United 2, West Ham 1. Liverpool 4, Aston Villa 0. Southampton 0, Manchester City 4. And Tottenham 2, Everton 2. So that is it. That is my Matchweek 33 done and dusted for another week. Obviously, leave your predictions in the comment section down below. It'll be absolutely fantastic as well. And also smash a like on this video as well. And I will go through the Premier League table very, very quickly, because it's getting very, very exciting, isn't it? So, table at the time of recording. Liverpool 86, champions of course. Then second, Manchester City 63, Leicester City 55, Chelsea 54, Manchester United 52, Wolves 52, Arsenal 46, Tottenham Hotspur 45, Burnley 45, Sheffield United 44, Everton 44, Crystal Palace 42, Newcastle 42, Southampton 40, Brighton Hove Albion 33, West Ham United on 30, Watford 28, Aston Villa on 27, Bournemouth on 27 and Norwich on 21. So it's getting very exciting at the bottom and the top 4 for sure. So thank you very much for watching. Obviously, leave your predictions in the comment section down below, and obviously the highest score will get a shout out in the next video. So hopefully you enjoy your Premier League weekend. Games are coming thick and fast, aren't they? They're coming thick and fast. It's good to see that as well. But thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, then please hit that subscribe button. That'd be absolutely fantastic as well. Smash a like on the video. Leave your predictions in the comment section down below. And also, I hope everyone has a good weekend. And yeah, enjoy your Premier League weekend. Not long to go now. We've got 5 game weeks left. 5 game weeks left. 15 points to play for. It's going to be very, very interesting for sure. So looking forward to when the Premier League obviously is over as well. And yeah, obviously stay safe, guys. Obviously lockdown is still with us, but obviously stay safe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Enjoy your Premier League weekend. It's getting very exciting at the top 4 race and at the bottom as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheerio.